Welcome to the Niche Pursuits Podcast. Are you ready to discover some niche business ideas that actually work? Well, it's time for a motivational kick to jumpstart your next big idea. Here's your host, Spencer Haas.
Hey everybody, Perrin here, and this is the 8th, 9th, 12th, 30th, can't remember, I think it's like 9th, call for Niche Site Project 3, and this is Perrin, of course, and I am here with Colleen Kinsey. Colleen Kinsey, how's it going?
It's going great.
Yeah, it's been a while.
Yeah, it has. I'm in Ireland right now.
Why are you in Ireland?
So last coaching call, we talked about how I quit my job, and the cheapest flight I could find out of the U.S. was to Dublin, and so I've been here for about a week.
Wow, yeah, so you didn't even want to specifically go to Dublin. You just found the cheapest flight you could, and you took off, huh?
Yep, exactly. So I bought a one-way ticket, and I'm in Galway, Ireland right now, which I think you have been here.
I've been to Galway, yeah. I did an international writers program in Galway. So I love the city. There's like ruins of castles and like a river running through it, and everything's like stone, and everybody is super Irish. It's not very touristy. I really enjoyed it when I was there.
Yeah, there's lots of old men drinking beer everywhere.
Yeah.
Pretty cool.
Tons of fiddles and pubs and stuff.
Yes.
Yeah, super cool. Where are you off to after Dublin?
On Saturday, I'm taking a bus to Belfast, Northern Ireland. And then, who knows? I'm just planning it week by week, so it could change.
Nice, man. You are a traveling entrepreneur right now.
I'm trying to make it happen.
Yeah, that's awesome. Super cool. Glad to have you back. Glad to be back. Let's talk about what you have been up to over the last month, because you've had some pretty cool successes, right? So I know we had just a few things to finish up with content, and we were going to start outreach. So why don't you give everybody a quick update? Doesn't even have to be quick. You can just give us a good, juicy update about what's going on with your site content-wise and outreach-wise.
Yeah, so I have all 40 articles up on my site. We did some tweaking to make it look really nice and pretty, and things are good to go. So I've been really focusing on guest posting and sending emails out and trying to get articles on other people's sites. I've run into people not nice on the internet, which I knew was going to happen, but I didn't think it'd happen so soon. So I give them the proverbial middle finger from my computer, and then move on.
Yeah, that's kind of strange, because I will, if I'm going to do some outreach and I send, 100 or 200 emails, I might get one slightly mean person. It's happening a little bit more often to you, right?
Yeah, I've had a couple people like, oh, I will never link to a zero ranking site. Peace out, or blocked.
I think it might actually be your industry, So your industry is a very cool industry, very fun industry. But I think when we reveal the site, people will go, oh yeah, there are plenty of buttheads in that industry.
Yeah, I could see that. So I've been doing guest posting, and some of the things that I ran into is that maybe my article pitches aren't as great as I think they are.
Well, so first though,
go ahead.
I do want to toot your horn a little bit, because you have had some success. So for the last couple of calls, we've been like talking about and writing about like all these snags we're hitting, and like how we're pivoting and stuff. But, while we don't want to give away too much, you were, rocking it. It's been mostly good news for this last month, right?
Yeah, I've been writing up a storm. I've been doing quite a few guest posts that have been getting on the site and on other people's sites, rather. And so making sure to follow up with people and making sure that they're posting them. I guess I didn't really think that that would be exactly an issue, but they are just like, oh, yeah, I forgot. So that's one thing that I've run into, which isn't necessarily bad, I don't think, but
yeah,
definitely
but it's pretty exciting, right? Like
management. Yeah.
You've also been Facebook messaging me with ecstatic guest post links to show me, which is super fun, and I'm glad you enjoy it. And I thought you would enjoy this bit of it, and I honestly do too. It's just fun to do that work and then see a very concrete result. To me, do you feel the same way?
Yeah, definitely. I had a really exciting one today. I interviewed someone famous for a news article. So I was really excited about that. a little brush with fame there. So that was exciting.
Yeah, it's cool. You're going out and building some relationships. So what about content?
My content or my guest post content?
Content for your website, because when we left off, it was done, but it wasn't all posted. So where are you at with that?
So I have everything posted except one article. So I have 39 articles. I had to send one of my articles back to the writer to fix a couple things, and now that we're talking about it, I need to get on his butt about it. So okay. That's the only thing.
But it's pretty much done, right? And you are able to focus totally on outreach. And I know one of the things people might be interested in here is which part you like most. Everybody kind of likes a different part of it. There are a lot of writers, there are a lot of business guys, there are a lot of marketers in the audience. For you, though, what did you like most, or what have you liked most so far?
I think two of my favorite things. One is showing my friends and family my site and them saying, whoa, that looks really awesome.
Yeah.
I can't believe that you built that. I think that is something that makes me really motivated and excited, because I also think, oh, I can't believe I built that either. That's really cool.
Yeah, and to jump in there, it's when we reveal it, I think people will be surprised just how far away it is from the typical quote-unquote Amazon niche site, which is, kind of thrown up and has a crappy theme and a crappy design and everything is affiliate articles. This really does look like a cool site that people will want to spend time on, and they will.
Yeah, I think the best way to say it looks legit.
Looks legit, yeah.
Yes.
We're not faking it. It's an actual site built for people that we hope people will enjoy.
Exactly. And I've been learning a lot about a topic that I never really thought that I would learn so much about. So I think that that's been something really cool too, is getting to learn a new topic and learn with my readers as I write about it. And also just reaching out with people and making new relationships with people all over the world.
Yeah, and when we first started talking, when you submitted your application, we figured that your personality and skill set would be good at the relationship building part of it. And, when you started doing content, it was a bit of a slog, but I said, I bet you're going to have more fun with the link building. And so far, it seems like to me, from my point of view, tell me if I'm wrong, that you are having fun with it.
No, I totally agree. I was talking to a guy in Africa the other day that has a site. We were talking about exchanging links, and then this article that I was writing with the famous person was in Canada. So it's really cool. I feel like definitely my calling.
Cool. Well, it's mostly good news. We did come up against a few very small issues, and I figured it would make a good call to talk about how to use those little hiccups to really optimize what we're doing right now, right? The plan, after we've had some success, is to just keep building links, right? So we've got content, and we've got a few links. We want to build even more links. What we ran into as you were out doing some guest posting, maybe you can talk about how people were reacting to your pitches, but we needed something on our site to link to, and we needed pitches that were working for the sites we were reaching out to. So what I think I want to talk about today is how to optimize your link building to create attractive pitches to the people you are contacting, and links that will work for us, right? So we want to be able to reach out to people and pitch them either an infographic or a guest post, or we want to maybe get on one of their pages that has links, but we also want to be boosting an article inside our site, targeting a specific keyword and that sort of thing. So where those overlap is where we can really optimize, because we were kind of going at it willy-nilly. For this first round of guest posting, we were just pitching basically whatever we thought sounded kind of cool, right? We were writing down cool ideas for articles. What would happen was, and you talk about this here in a second because I'm probably not going to do this justice, but people didn't find the pitches were really suited to their audience. And when you were writing the articles, you found it difficult to link to stuff on your blog without being totally unnatural, and some of your links would either get stripped or you had to redo some of them, or I think one place asked you to take out every link but yours. So you were running into just some optimizing type issues. I'm sure I didn't say any of that right, so you jump in and help me.
Yeah, so one of my articles, I put tons of links in, because when I'm talking about something, I want other people to be able to go to that website that I'm talking about. Or, I did a top 5 list, and each of the 5 had a link to that site. And when they posted it, they took out every single link. And I was like, oh, well, I wasn't expecting that. That's fine. I still have my link on there. But it was kind of interesting because it's a different tactic than what we've been using. And also I think that a lot were just not really as interested in some of my pitches, or they would want the article already written and then to review it. And so that's kind of some of the small snags that I've ran into, and then just saying, oh, well, I actually haven't written that yet. Do you have a favorite? And we can talk about what you like. Or sometimes I'll offer to provide an outline. That's kind of an easy way. You basically have the article half written and it's not quite written yet for their audience. So it's kind of a little taster, if you will.
Yeah, for sure. And that's a really good idea. Actually, that's a nice little hack too. For the people who want full articles, to maybe send them an outline or send them a pitch, even if they're asking for a full article. And those people will sometimes still get back to you, right? Have they gotten back to you, the people who want full articles first, even though you just pitched them?
Yeah, actually, it worked pretty well. And I found that my pitches, short and sweet, but still kind of buttering them up at the beginning. And then I also talk a little bit about myself, too, and what I'm doing.
Yeah, and we've actually come across, or we've kind of stumbled on a new strategy where I don't tell you what to write in the emails at all, because I am kind of an old school SEO. I've seen a whole bunch of link building scripts. Even if I'm writing an outreach email off the top of my head, it tends to kind of follow a script subconsciously, and yours have been converting a lot better than mine ever did. So I haven't seen them. I'm not giving you any feedback on them. I'm just letting you use your communication skills, which is like your forte, and do what you think will appeal to people, and you've been, kicking butt. So I think that's good. But we do need to optimize our link building process. We need to be able to pitch things that are more attractive to people to kind of boost our conversion and avoid as much as we can these people who don't like our pitches. And we want to be able to link to something on our site that targets a keyword, right? This is SEO after all. And I'm not saying that everything that gets a link needs to be targeting a certain keyword. Sometimes you can create content just for links, but if you can build links to a really great keyword, of course you want to. That's the most optimal thing. So how do we do that? Linkable assets. Before you turn off the video, I promise you this is going to be different. Lots of people talk about linkable assets. I think most people are short-sighted or wrong, and so I'm going to talk about it in what I think is a really different way. Colleen, you jump in whenever you can, whenever you have something that you can relate to your own guest posting campaign. But
sure. So this is just not just your homepage, right? So this is something specific on your site, right?
Yep. So that's a really good point. It's the easiest links you can build are probably to your homepage, and having a couple links to your homepage is fine. But the best links are going to be to deeper articles. These are called deep links. Those are good because, first of all, it'll show Google that your content is valuable. If there's only links to your homepage and no links to articles, it looks fishy to Google, and you're at risk for being flagged for like manual reviews and that sort of thing. But also, you just want links to your articles to help them rank. Every article we have on the site that we built is targeting some keyword. If we can point links to those articles, we're going to be doing a lot better in the search results, So, and if you point links to a certain article, it's very easy to add a bunch of internal links to other articles, creating a sort of, spider web where all of the link juice is flowing into one linkable asset and spreading out to your other articles and boosting those keywords. So yeah, one of the ideas behind linkable assets is to be able to build links to somewhere else besides your homepage. The old way of thinking about linkable assets, what I'm calling the old way, is that linkable assets are epic content. And I think this is short-sighted, and as I have been building lots of links for my own site, I have kind of come to the conclusion that linkable assets don't have to be epic content only. Also, epic content is very expensive to produce. It takes either a lot of time or a lot of resources. Most of the time, it takes both time and money. And so you don't want to have to do that every time you go try to build some links.
So what do you mean by epic content?
I'm going to show you an example, but by epic, I'm talking about something that is like true thought leadership, something that is not easy to replicate at all, that you really can't find anywhere else on the internet, that is vastly improving on other pieces of content that are out there, something that maybe has a tool, something that has like other rich media that's not easy to replicate. And I have one example, but epic means like huge, massive, awe-inspiring types of content. And that's what people typically think of when they think of linkable assets. It's creating that one crazy, shining star that people just can't help but link to. And that's good, and it works. But I don't think it's efficient, and I don't think it's realistic if you're going to be doing lots of link building campaigns, and we are doing lots of link building campaigns. Of course, you want some epic content. You want a couple amazing pieces, and they have those benefits, and I'm going to talk about those. But we also want to be able to create some linkable assets that don't necessarily have to be long, that don't take a lot of resources to produce, that don't take a lot of time to produce, that will be just as efficient or powerful or attractive to the people we are pitching to. So the old way of thinking about it is that linkable assets equal epic content only. I don't think that's the best way to think about it. And even if you're not creating epic content, I still think you should be creating linkable assets. They just don't have to be crazy. So I want to talk about sort of the 4 different types of linkable assets I have come to prefer. Of course, there are lots of them, like there are lots of types of content that people link to, but I've broken them down into like 4 categories. Epic content is one of them, and one of them I think you will surely have heard of. I know Jake's talking about it actually, but there are a couple others in here that you may not have been thinking of as you were doing your link building. So first, I just want to quickly define linkable asset. Basically, it's anything on your site someone would have a good reason to link to. When I started writing this coaching call, it was kind of difficult for me to move from this abstract thing to things that people actually link to, and I had to go back into like my link profile and my link building campaigns to see where my links were actually going. Some of them were going to the epic content, but honestly, I was creating a lot of linkable assets and using them to build links without thinking of them as linkable assets because it was just so natural. And so I realized that linkable assets honestly come in all shapes and sizes, and you can create them on purpose even if they're not these crazy epic pieces of content. And one lesson here is that different types of linkable assets will be better suited for different types of outreach. That's also something I discovered when I was going back through all of my previous link building campaigns. So, we're starting with guest posting, and there are a couple linkable assets that are really great for guest posting. Makes it really easy to link to your own site from a guest post in a natural way, in a way that boosts keywords, that sort of thing. But some types of content are better for other types of link building, like guestographics, skyscraper, links and resources pages. There are so many different link building tactics. One linkable asset won't fit in all of those modules or whatever. You need to have different types of linkable assets for different types of outreach. So I want to go over sort of the types of linkable assets, how they fit, what sorts of tactics you can use to build these links. You have any questions so far, Colleen?
Nope, I'm good. Following along.
All right. So linkable asset type number 1, articles ripe for market overlap. I have examples of all these I'm going to show you guys too. So articles ripe for market overlap. What I mean by market overlap is a place where your market overlaps with some other market. The example I use often when I'm talking about this is like, say you have a fitness blog and then you are out of fitness blog targets. One thing you could do is reach out to DIY blogs and talk about how to DIY your own fitness gym, right? So if you had something on your site about maybe the cost of a home fitness center or how to make your own dumbbells, that sort of thing would be really easy to link to from an article about DIYing your own fitness gym. So what I'm calling these is overlap assets. There are a few benefits here. First of all, they can be short. So in the example that I just mentioned, say you have a fitness blog, you're reaching out to DIY sites, you're pitching an article about how to DIY a home gym. It would be very natural, very easy to link to a site about the cost of a home gym. Maybe you have a very short article that's just a list of all of the possible costs for a home gym in maybe a couple different scenarios. Doesn't even have to be like 500 words, right? It just has to look nice and it has to be a good resource for that really specific problem. But if you're writing this article about how to DIY your home gym, people would want to know that. You could very easily link to that resource on your blog, right? So they can be short. It also gives you opportunities with other markets. This is very important because eventually you will run out of blogs to contact in your market. They're just going to be too hard to find. With my current site, I found, I think, 400 blogs in my market, and I'm in a big market. I found 400 blogs where I could find contact information, and I felt like they were worth contacting. After I ran out of those 400 blogs, I had like 20, 25 links. Actually, I think maybe more like 30 or 40 because I converted like 1%. But I was out of people to contact. I had run out. I bled the well dry, right? I needed other sites to contact. The way you do that is to find a place where your market overlaps with somebody else's market. So, that can be anything. If you have a fitness blog, you could write articles about how yoga is beneficial for weightlifters and reach out to yoga blogs, right? There are hundreds of different markets out there, and you can overlap with any of them. The other big benefit is that linking to these types of assets is really natural. So in the fitness gym example, like we said, it's very natural to link to something about the cost if you're writing about making your home gym. And really, this is best for guest posting. That's why I put it first, because right now that's what we're doing a lot of. We're doing a whole bunch of guest posting. But an easy way to think of this, and I should have made one, is like a Venn diagram. So like you have your market, visualize somebody else's market, overlap them. What does that article look like? And then after you've pictured what that article looks like in your mind, what does that article need to link to? And create that short resource, right? So let's do another quick example on the fly. Maybe you have a sailing blog and you might reach out to like tiny house blogs. And the article might be like how living on a sailboat can teach you about living in a tiny house. And then what that article might link to would be like organization, space saving. So if you had an article on your sailing blog about like organizational tips for living on a sailboat, that would be very easy to link to in an article about how living on a sailboat teaches you about living in tiny spaces.
So is this an article that you already have on your site, or is this an article that you're pitching to another site?
So you would pitch the article that overlaps with your market, but on your site you would think like, okay, I'm pitching this article A. What does article A need to link to? And
okay.
And whatever that needs to link to is what you would create on your site.
Got you.
So for the fitness gym example, you would create a list of costs because the article you're pitching needs to link to costs. Does that make sense?
Yeah, that makes sense.
Okay,
Thanks.
cool. So let's look at a few quick examples. Here, and there are lots of good examples on like really high quality blogs. I tried to find some more bloggy blogs where these types of articles might come up, or where these market overlap articles might come up. So here we can imagine maybe we have a running blog and we have tapped out all the running blogs we can find. And so one thing we could do is to reach out to yoga blogs and pitch a guest post like 10 best YouTube videos, or I'm sorry, 10 best YouTube yoga routines for runners. That's what the article we're pitching would be. It would look something like this. And then we could link to something like a yoga mat or another yoga routine. If I was going to be pitching an article about yoga for runners to yoga blogs, the linkable asset I might create on my running blog would be like the importance of flexibility or something. Does that make sense?
Yep, that does.
So I'd pitch yoga for runners. The linkable asset would be something short and sweet about flexibility for runners that I could easily link to in an article about yoga for runners. Here's another example. Say you have a crafting blog. You've tapped out crafting blogs, and you figure that there are tons of parenting blogs out there, and they might be some good outreach opportunities. So you want to figure out what overlaps with your crafting blog and a parenting blog. One article that might overlap is gifts kids can make for mom. So that's crafts and parenting. And after you pitch that, or when you were thinking about pitching that article, you would think, okay, what does that need to link to? And you might link to like craft safety blog post for kids on your site, right? So you've got a craft blog, you're pitching mom blogs. Where do those overlap? Gifts kids can make for mom. What does that need to link to? Safety, like craft safety, right? If you're doing it with your kids or whatever. Is this all kind of making sense?
Yeah, it makes sense to me.
Cool.
Yep.
Okay, so here's a tip for overlap assets. Hit lots of markets lightly because you don't want, for example, your yoga blog to have only links from running blogs. That looks fishy. You're not going to get a lot of topical relevance, and it's just kind of weird, right? So you don't want to like create one linkable asset for yoga for runners and hit only running blogs and then stop link building. Usually the best way to do this is to create a good linkable asset that overlaps with some market and then send 30, 40, 50 emails to that market for really good blogs, because these are guest posts after all. You're going to have to create them, which is more time and resources, so you probably don't want to be sending a bunch in the first place. After that, maybe yoga overlaps with crafts somehow. Maybe yoga overlaps with sailing. Maybe yoga overlaps with weightlifting blogs. Whatever it is, if you're going to create overlap assets and pitch guest posts in a way that overlaps with other markets, you should hit lots of different markets so that your link profile doesn't look really strange and you can build more general authority instead of building authority with running blogs for your yoga blog, right? You still want your yoga blog to really be a yoga blog, really be about yoga. All of the links should be on pages that are about yoga. So in addition to all the link building tactics you're using, it's just important to make sure that you're hitting multiple markets here.
Diversifying your links.
Diversifying your links is a very good way of putting it. Okay. Linkable asset type number 2, timely content. This was a really cool tactic. I've had quite a bit of success with this recently for something that was pretty timely, and the conversions for these tend to be really awesome. So what I mean by timely content is pitching somebody a post that they really need to publish in like the next month or in the next couple of weeks for it to even make sense on their site. And if they don't have this in the works, they will really want it badly because they will understand like, oh crap, I don't have anybody to write this. I do need this type of article before this date. So yeah, please write it for me and send it over as soon as possible so I can get it in the pipeline, right? And I'll show you what that kind of means here. Timely asset, actually, you know what? Let's look at an example. So maybe you have an outdoors blog or you have a blog about archery or whatever. A really good example of a timely piece of content is something like this. 10 great ways to prepare for the deer season in the summer, right? So you can imagine maybe it's like May and the hunting blogs haven't yet started publishing this type of stuff. Or maybe it's like, 20 days before hunting season opens and you know that they have a specific date. They don't have an article like this yet on their site. It's very easy to reach out to someone and say, hey, I really think you guys need an article about how to prepare for deer season this summer. Here are a few ideas of what could go in there. Tell me what you think. I think we should jump on it because we only have 20 days until deer season opens. Obviously, that's a very attractive type of pitch. And again, when you're thinking about that article and you're thinking about that pitch, all you have to do is think of what that article, what that guest post needs to link to. So you've got 10 great ways to prepare for deer season in the summer. And then maybe you have a blog on your or a post on your outdoors blog about camping in hot temperatures, right? So whatever this guest post needs to link to, you would create that short thing on your site, that little article. Maybe it's camping in hot temperatures. Maybe it's about how deer behave in the summer. Whatever it is, you just have to do something that's like common sense, short, very easy, very natural to link to from the article or from the guest post that you're pitching, right? With me?
I'm with you.
Cool. So good thing about these is that they can be short. It's just whatever that guest post needs to link to. You can land some really big links with these is another good thing. So news sites are the big ones. If you want links on like Huffington Post and Washington Post and like Mashable and BuzzFeed and these sorts of publications, timely assets are usually the best way to get them. So if you have, like, this might actually be a good example. Mother's Day is coming up. Maybe your market overlaps with Mother's Day somehow. And you can pitch that guest post. And then whatever that guest post needs to link to, you can link to that, or you can create that linkable asset on your site. The guest post is good. It's linking to a really good resource people need to know about. And you're good. Here's a tip. Timely asset tip. Make your article slightly different from, and more importantly, complementary to the guest post you'd be writing. This is really a tip that I should have posted about linkable assets at the beginning. You don't want to write about the same thing. You want to write something complementary to whatever you're pitching. And we've kind of been talking about this, which is just asking yourself, what does your post need to link to, right? Also, you want to pitch about a month in advance. Editorial processes for big sites do take time, especially like news sites. And you may also have to write both of these posts. But a month is still kind of within that time frame that's slightly uncomfortable. Editors will want to get that article published. And then another timely asset tip is if you can, try to break some news. So like breaking some news on your site and then emailing other sites and saying like, hey, this news is going off and nobody's writing about it. Do you want me to write a piece because you're going to be like left behind or whatever? If you can really break news, that can be huge. It's hard because, that takes some journalism. You might have to find stuff out before other people do. Who knows how to do that in your market? But if you can, there can be an incredible payoff because if you're the first person to break the news, you become the source. And everybody who writes about that, a lot of them will probably link to you. So timely assets are usually something about a date that's coming up. Maybe it is hunting season. Maybe it's the date of a big race. Who knows what it is? But writing about something that's coming up and then linking to your site from that piece in a way that makes sense is a really good way to optimize your link building. And this is best for guest posts, I think. So we've got, so far, timely assets and then market overlap. And now we're going to talk about a few that are a little bit more familiar. Linkable asset type 3 is broken pages. This is something Jake has been talking about. Broken link building is nothing new. The idea here is to find pages on the internet that have links pointing to them that don't exist anymore, recreate that thing, and then email the people who are linking to the broken page and say, hey, can you link to my page? You're linking to a broken link right now. Or what people like Chris Lee like to do is say, hey, you are linking to a broken link. I'm sorry, you're linking to a broken page. I found this one instead, which is a little bit more subtle, right? But broken assets have a couple benefits. First, they can be short. All you have to do is recreate the missing page. It's best if you improve on it and make it a little bit better, but lots of times these are really easy, and all you have to do is recreate them. And lastly, it makes the internet a better place. So there was a resource lots of people liked enough to link to, but it's gone now. So if you can recreate it, you are giving people that resource again. So it really is making the internet a better place. That's why lots of people like broken link building. I won't go through how to find these broken links. I'm going to show you an example, but there are just so many guides to broken link building out there, like the Broken Link Building Bible on Moz, and Jake's talking about it, and Brian Dean's talked about it plenty that I really don't want to go into it. But I will show you an example, and that is on this page. So here I'm imagining that I have a farming blog, And this is a list of links. This is just a links and resources page. Lots of sites have these. These are the types of pages you're most likely to find broken links on. I've used a plugin called Check My Links. And what Check My Links does, and it's a free plugin, you can download it in the Chrome extension store. It just runs through all the links on a page, checks them for validity, and then shows you the ones that are returning a 404 or 401 error. So there are lots of pages that you can't recreate, like non-for-profit home pages and that sort of thing. But there is this one, beneficial insect links, and this is a set of links on beneficial insects from Virginia Tech. This page is broken. It will be very easy to recreate. You could go to the Wayback Machine on archive.org, which is a free tool that shows you what pages used to look like. See what it looks like. Probably it's just going to be a list of beneficial insects. You could create a really cool resource about that, even if it's not long, even if it's a simple list. And by reaching out to everybody who is linking to this page that is now broken, pointing them in the direction of your asset, you could probably snag a couple of those links. That make sense, Colleen?
Yeah, it does.
Cool.
Pretty cool.
Broken asset tip. Even if these are short, they have to look professional. Lots of times, people are stingy about their links and resources pages. They only want to link to good resources. So even if you're making something really short, it should really look good. Your site should be well put together. The content that people can find from that page should be strong professional content, that sort of thing. So, if you've got a default WordPress theme and your color coordination's out of whack and whatever it is, if your site doesn't look professional, this probably isn't the best for you. But the idea is that broken assets can be very easy to create. It's just a list of bugs, right? It doesn't have to be hard. You can just recreate the list that was already there in your own words, maybe add a few bits of new information, but that's all you really need, and that would take you, half an hour. So broken assets are another type of asset or another type of linkable asset that can be short and easy to create.
When you say short, do you mean like 500 words or basically whatever you need to get the information across?
Yeah, whatever you need to get the information across, like if it's organization on a sailboat, maybe that is 700 words. If it is just a list of possible costs for different equipment for a home gym, maybe that's just a list, right? Like maybe that's 200 words. If it's something like a list of beneficial insects, maybe it's 1,500 words. Basically, short to me means anything that's not epic content. So like definitely under 2,000 words, something that would take you an afternoon to create or maybe $30 to buy. Cool?
Gotcha.
Linkable asset number 4, epic content. So epic content can be linkable assets. Most of the time when people set out to create a linkable asset, they tend to create epic content, or they tend to try to create epic content. I've done this for my own site. Works fairly well. It's just resource intensive. So that's why it's last. I think we are probably not going to do much of this as we go about our link building. We may create 1 or 2 of these in the future if we really want to get crazy. But what we're doing seems to be working. We haven't created one of these yet. That said, epic content is the thing people think about most when they think about linkable assets, so I wanted to cover it. So, the thing about epic assets is that they truly have to be crazy to get links. They have to be the best thing on the internet for the most part. They're usually epic posts or tools with lots of rich media. And so a tool might be built-in software, like maybe it's a insurance calculator that's a really overly used one, but most insurance sites are using insurance calculators as linkable assets. But it could be just a huge guide to something, or it could be an exhaustive list of something. Really good thing about these is that they tend to attract natural links over time. I created one of these on my site, and every week, like clockwork, I get 1 or 2 links to that page. It ranks for a really popular keyword, lots of eyeballs go to that page every day, and when people see it, they're impressed, and it always gets 1 or 2 links a week. So that's the biggest benefit of epic assets. None of the stuff we really talked about so far will attract natural links on its own over time. Epic assets really can. It's also better for different types of outreach than guestographics than guest post. So here you can use guestographics. Maybe you have an epic post with a huge infographic, or PR. So PR link building. So not only press releases, but real media outreach, trying to get covered in the media. If you have like the best tool, or like a really useful tool or a timely tool, you really can get covered by big media outlets. So PR is another good way to build links. And then Skyscraper, which is a branding tactic, which is where you find similar stuff that's not as good and email the people who are linking to that and say, hey, I have something way better. It might be worth mentioning on your page. So if we ever want to move away from guest posting, epic assets might be one of the things that we can do, because you can use so many different types of link building with it. One tip, and let's just look at an example. This is a really famous example. Does this make sense to you, Colleen?
Yeah, it does, totally.
All right, one of the most famous examples I can think of is the Advanced Guide to Link Building on QuickSprout. This was created by two of the best SEOs in the world, Neil Patel and Brian Dean. And this is a massive, massive, massive guide, probably 20,000 words, and it covers every link building tactic imaginable. You know, if we're building links, you might as well read it. It's a little bit outdated, but this thing has so many links pointing to it, it's not even funny. So creating something huge like this, and this is one chapter. This is only the table of contents, by the way. There are, 12 different chapters, and each chapter is really exhaustive and has lots of live examples and that sort of thing. That's the sort of thing you have to be thinking about if you're going to create some truly epic content. Quick tip, up your budget for this, go nuts. It's one of the reasons we're not doing it now, is because these cost money, or they really work best if you spend money. But like design infographics, buy press releases, both of those are several $100s. Do some really big time influencer outreach, maybe, even buy some ads or something, but you want to get as many eyeballs on it as possible. Promoted pin, promoted Facebook post, that sort of thing. You really need to up your budget for these, and that's how they work best. It's just more marketing-y than others. So be prepared to spend money if you're going to do this. Otherwise, it's not going to be worth it. You can't just publish it on your site and send a few emails. Typically, you want to get this in front of as many people as you can. So to recap, the overall idea for most of this stuff is to know what you're going to pitch, and then think about what your pitch needs to link to, and then just create that on your site, even if it's short. The types of linkable assets you can create are overlap assets, timely assets, broken assets, and epic assets. And that's, I think, pretty much all I have. What questions do you have, Colleen? Or do you have any ideas? Is this like sparking anything? I know you've been doing a lot of guest posting, so are you maybe getting some ideas about how you can apply this in your next round of emails?
Yeah, absolutely. I think that this is different than what my current strategy has been, which has been to just pitch ideas and see what comes back. So I think that this is definitely, hopefully, be more efficient and get the job done.
Cool, man. So I guess your homework should be, I don't know, what do you think it should be? What do you feel like doing?
Let's see. I think I want to start doing some of the overlap assets and start getting into that. Yeah.
Sure. Yeah, that's actually what I'm doing for my own site right now. I have something for spring that I want to write. And so I have a few blogs in mind, and that's what I'm going to be doing right now. I think it's just really good. I'm sorry. That would be a timely asset, right? So overlap is also a good idea. I actually recently did that a few months ago with parenting blogs, and it worked out pretty well. So.
Yeah, I feel like I've been doing a little bit of the timely assets with some of the new stuff that I've been doing. So I think that overlap would be a good area to get into.
Cool. So I guess let's make the homework to send 50 more emails.
You got it.
See what you can get. All right. Well, that's it, guys. Hopefully this gives you a better idea of what types of assets you can create on your site to get links more efficiently and to optimize your campaigns. As always, leave me a question in the comments and we'll get back to you. Thanks a lot. Talk to you guys later.